Hello everyone, my name is Xanity109, and in today's video, we're going to be going over everything new in the Copper Age update. That's update 1.21.9 on Java Edition, and update 1.21.111 on Bedrock Edition. This update was released on September 30th, 2025, and in today's video, we're going to look at everything it added. Let's go. Now, in this chest, we have everything new that was added in this update. And we're going to go through and look at each thing and explain it one by one so that you know everything that you need to know for the update when you play it. First up, we've got copper chains and copper bars. These are basically the same things as the one that's crafted out of iron. You can see the crafting recipe here. This is what the bars is, and this is for the chain. Now this will get you 16 iron bars, or copper bars, and this will get you, I believe, 1 chain. So that's how they're crafted. They oxidize just like the copper that was added into the game. You can wax and unwax them to stop their stages of oxidization. And yeah, those are basically the exact same as the iron chains and the iron bars that were already in the game, but now they're made out of copper in different colors. These are the new lightning rods. They work the exact same as the old lightning rods. However, now the lightning rods can oxidize and change over time. So there's just different colors of lightning rods in the game now. They're crafted the exact same as they were before in the crafting table, but now the lightning rod will just oxidize. Next up is the copper armor and tools. Now, copper armor is crafted the exact same way all the other armor is crafted. It takes 24 ingots to craft an entire set of copper armor. But since you get so many ingots when you mine a block of copper, it should only take a couple ores for you to be able to make an entire set. Now, copper armor has higher armor points than leather armor, but less than gold. Its durability is higher than golden armor, but less than chainmail and iron. So this is a really good early armor to get if you want some armor before you go into the caves to get your iron armor. It's going to be kind of a mid-stage. You craft it like first or second day into the world. You can get it, and it's just some pretty easy armor, better than leather, just to get you through your first night. Same with the copper tools. The copper tools, they're crafted the same way all the other tools are, just copper ingots instead of the other material. They do the same. The sword, it does the same amount of damage as stone. They're basically the same thing as stone tools, except they have a higher durability and can mine slightly faster than stone tools. They are a little bit worse than iron tools, though, in terms of like the durability and the speed. So iron is still going to be one up from the copper armor, but I do think that the copper armor and tools have an important place in the early game stages of getting set up before you have a good supply of iron. Like, if you don't have that much iron, copper tools are going to be a really good resource if you need to grind out stuff in the early game. So yeah, I think this is a great addition to Minecraft. It's going to be super nice, good for early game. I have tested that, and it does work pretty well. The copper armor, by the way, it fills up 10 armor points, which is half your armor bar. So again, not very bad. Now we're going to move to the upper floor of the laboratory. This right here is the copper nugget. Similar to iron and gold nuggets, you can get 9 of them just crafted down from a single copper ingot. And it's basically just used as a crafting ingredient for the other copper materials that we showcased down there. This, a new addition, again, is the copper horse armor. It is not craftable, and it provides 4 armor points, which is 2 armor bars for your horse. And it generates in the same loot tables with the same chances as iron horse armor. So, desert temples, nether fortresses, end fortresses, it should just be there, same chance. You should be able to find it pretty easily with a little bit of exploring. So there's that. Next, we're going to move on to the copper golem. We're going to look at the live stage later, but when they fully oxidize down, they freeze and turn into a statue. And you can use an axe to unwax them into their live forms again. But we're going to look at the frozen forms here. You can right click on them to put them in a variety of poses. Right here I'm showing off each of the different poses in a different stage of oxidization. So yeah, these are the copper golems. Again, we're going to look at the living forms later. but this is what they look like in their frozen form, which I think these are great for building little statues and stuff on your builds. They're going to be really nice to have. Yeah. Next up, we have the copper chest. Now, the copper chest is basically just like the normal chest, except it's crafted using standard wooden chest and 8 copper ingots like this. There is another way to obtain it, but we're going to get into that later when we talk about the copper golem. Now, the copper chest behaves just like a normal chest. It can oxidize over time, showing here. They can be interacted with by copper golems. We're going to show that later. Placing 2 together creates a large copper chest. This is basically the exact same thing as the normal chest that's in the game. Just a different opening sound, different texture. And there's one exclusive feature we will showcase later with that when we talk about the copper golem. But yeah, so these are the copper chests. I really like them. It's a nice way to switch up the storage. Plus, you can store your copper in here, different stages of copper for the stage a chest is, which I think is pretty cool. And then next up here, we're going to be talking about the copper torch. Copper torches are crafted like a normal torch, but with a copper nugget on top, and it gives off a green flame, which is the same thing as happens in real life when you use copper in fire. In real life, fire and copper produce a green flame, which I think is super cool that we're getting another light source in the game with a different color. And then, using a copper torch and 8 copper nuggets, you can craft the copper lantern, which oxidizes down. This is a great building block. It emits the same light level. These emit the same light levels as the normal torches and lanterns that are already in the game. Not talking about the soul torches and soul lanterns. Those emit a lower light level than these. But the light level of the lanterns does not change with the oxidization. It stays the same regardless. But yeah, so these are the copper torches and copper lanterns. And now, moving to a different room in the laboratory, we are going to take a look at the copper golem. Not the copper golem statue that I showed you earlier. The actual live copper golem mob. Now, the copper golem, it's more crafted. It doesn't spawn naturally. The copper golem is created by the player by placing a carved pumpkin on top of any copper block. Not cut copper, it has to be the uncut version of copper, like this. It can be waxed or unwaxed, but the golem will be waxed or unwaxed depending on the type of copper block you spawn it on. So now, we're going to spawn these in, like this so, and you can see they spawn with a chest underneath them. Now, an interesting mechanic about these is if we take this chest and we're going to stick half a stack of each material in these chests. And as you can see, once we put down a normal chest with these materials, the copper golems will take the items and move them and sort them depending on the chest. They're taking all of the items out of these chests and putting them in this chest. Copper golems, they can do this to create almost a sorting system that manually sorts your items. So if you have a messy storage room, you can do that. And as you can see here with this one, the fully oxidized stage, copper golems will eventually oxidize and turn into statues, which we can undo by right-clicking them with an axe to wax them, and we can reanimate them and bring them back to life like that. The copper golems, they can be hit. However, I do not believe that they can be killed. We're going to test that. Oh, they can. And when they are killed, they drop a couple copper ingots. So yes, they can be killed, as we just found out. But yeah, these little guys will come through and they will sort, and they will stick all of your items into a chest with the corresponding item. Like if I take that out, they don't know what to do with it. But if I put the gold block in here, then they're going to sense that that can be taken. They're going to take the gold and they'll put it back in here with this other chest. And they can only move so many blocks at a time. But I think these guys are going to be a fantastic building block in their statue form and a resource for players. These are a really cool mob, and I'm so glad that they brought these back even after they were canceled in the mob vote. Now, there's one more thing that got added in this update that doesn't relate to copper. And we're going to go look and see what that is now. Back in the main lab, the one last thing to talk about in this update has nothing to do with copper. It is the new shelf block. This is a new storage block crafted with 6 stripped logs of any wood variety, however they all have to be the same. And this will give you 6 shelf blocks of the wood type in exchange. So it's a 1-to-1 log to shelf ratio. These are really cool. I'm specifically going to use them for building, because they are fantastic building blocks for detailing and stuff like that. But where their real functionality shows is in the storage. Like I said, it's a storage block. Each of these 3 slots can store a stack of an item. You can only have 1 item per, but it can store an entire stack. And what this does is, at first glance, it really doesn't do much. You can't really interact with it. Right-clicking will just bring you a single item back to your hotbar. However, when you power the shelf with redstone, you can see that the texture changes and the bars in the shelf disappear. And then when you right-click, it'll mass swap all 3 items into your inventory slot. And you can switch these back and forth between the shelf and the hotbar. It's a hotbar swapper. And if you put 3 shelves of matching variety right beside each other, or even, I don't think it has to be matching, but if you put 3 right beside each other and right click, you can swap the entire hotbar out between 3 shelves. So you can essentially preload hotbars for different scenarios. Like if you're going to build, you can get all your building blocks stuck into this, and then right click them all, swap them out for your tools in your hotbar. Another cool use that I've seen people do with this is you can use hoppers to take stuff in and put stuff out of these shelves. And people have made like roulette wheels and different things like that, different gambling machines in Minecraft using that. I personally am just going to use these for building, but I think this is a really cool block. Again, they come in each wood type with the texture slightly varying between each of them, but I think these are a really cool final addition to this update. So yeah, this has been the Copper Age update. I really like this update. I think it's fantastic. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, as it'll help me grow this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye!